And we're back, dear viewers, for our guest segments here on Good Morning Kuwait. You know, she is a sustainability program manager at Gulf Cryo with a strong background in engineering development and operation strategies. She focuses on turning sustainability into practical environmental and economic action through resource efficiency, circular economy, and industrial resilience. With technical knowledge, her work connects innovations, industry, and measurable impact to support long-term growth in today's context. She sees sustainability not only as an environmental priority, but as a national necessity tied to resilience and smarter use of resources. With that being said, let's welcome Maisa Khaja, Sustainability Program Manager at Gulf Cryo. Hello.
Hello, hi, good morning.
Good morning to you as well. So first, you know, with all the tension, the war situation going around, so can you talk to us about, you know, the sustainability kind of programs and efforts that are going on here?
Yes. So today, sustainability in Kuwait could be understood as a national resilience issue, not just an environmental one. It is directly tied to continuity, stability, and self-sufficiency. So when regional conflicts disrupt shipping, supply chain, energy routes, insurance costs, countries that depend heavily on external sources become exposed. Yeah. And Kuwait is one of them. So the real question here is not how to be greener, but how to keep essential resources and essential functions functioning during this pressure, such as water, electricity, food, healthcare, and fuel. And here, sustainability should be treated as a practical national planning, where we use the conventional strength more intelligently, and we strengthen the non-conventional methods as well. So sustainability is no longer a luxury, and it's not just a side topic. It's more about
necessity.
For Kuwait, yes, it's a practical, it is more like a national long-term security. Yeah.
And you know, speaking about national and long-term security, because you know, in Kuwait we've seen so many turmoils, right? We've had the invasion 30 years ago, 40 years ago. We've had COVID, and now with this situation. So what have all of these, you know, situations taught us about managing resources and our dependencies?
Yeah. So the lesson here is clear. When external conflicts are unstable, internal capability becomes the difference between resilience and vulnerability. A nation that cannot manage critical resources internally will become at risk. So when we want to see, like for Iraq invasion, showed us the importance of protecting the core infrastructure. COVID showed us and exposed us the risks of over-dependence on global supply chain.
Just like learning every step of the process.
Yes. Yeah. And today's current situation is also reminding us once again that the national security is about how much we can secure, how much we can manage, operate within the country. And currently, Kuwait is heading towards connecting sustainability to self-sufficiency, so we can manage more locally to become more stable and stronger nationally.
So now I'm glad you brought the idea of, you know, sustainability and being locally here, because, you know, how can we go from importing a lot of stuff or being a consumer-driven, you know, kind of society to having our own, you know, local infrastructure where we have our own goods, our own stuff, we can sustain ourselves by ourselves?
Yes. So here, major sectors will be the industrial sectors plus the public sector. For us, we need to focus on the food and water. So these are the most critical sectors during crisis because they hold the society together. For example, water desalination is one of the biggest examples from MEW. we are highly dependent on desalination. There's no other alternative freshwater replacement for that.
Yeah.
So we need to be sure that they are operating and functioning properly. And then another one is the food sector. We are depending on imports from outside. So now we need to support and strengthen our local food industry to support us in these areas. Also, the industrial and medical gases are very important as well, because we use carbon dioxide in the water desalination treatment. We also use oxygen and carbon dioxide also in medical healthcare continuity and pharmaceutical processes. We also use nitrogen and carbon dioxide in food security, food preservation, food freezing. So, for example, us as an industrial gas company, we made sure we're working during this time to be able to supply all these necessary gases to the food industries, food for food security, for medical care, for water desalination, and other industrial continuity.
It's mashallah, you know, when you mention all these kind of sectors, it's, you know, I would say it's a sign of how modern the world is. Each of and every one of these sectors intertwined, you know, connect to one another, and there are so many, and they are so integral, you know. And then when we see at Kuwait's reliance on oil, like what could be out of all of those? And I know food and water could be the logical answer, but if you had to pick one of them for, you know, the next focus for our sustainability projects, you know, the next thing that we should put utmost importance on, what would that be?
Okay, so here in Kuwait, our major strength pillar is definitely the public sector, which is the oil and gas, and also other core ministries such as the Ministry of Kuwait Municipality and Ministry of Public Works. They are essential, they have essential infrastructure and essential services. So when it comes to next focus, maybe it's best for us to focus on the non-conventional sectors, which are the private sectors, that can help us reduce our dependency on other external sources. Here, the public sector can be like an umbrella, can be an enabler for private sector to create more growth, to be more capable, to create more resources. And we can maintain more, we can produce more. At the same time, the goal is not to replace the conventional, which is the oil sector. Yes, it's more like creating a foundation to make it a stronger country and build a more self-reliant economy.
And you know, speaking about building all of this, like, is the building process, is it something manageable in the foreseeable future, or is it like a really long-term project, or, you know, like in terms of actually going forward with all of these, does it require a lot of effort, time, resources, or is it something completely manageable?
Well, it's definitely manageable. We are currently going to that direction. Sustainability is an economic development. Kuwait is not just about, the opportunity here is not just about consuming less, but it's about recovering more. As a great leading example is KPC, actually, the KPC Sustainability Direction. It includes the CCUS, waste conversion, circular economy. So if we capture CO2 and reuse it within the country, it can be applied in many different applications. And that goes also for other wastes and byproducts. We can use it in construction materials, we can use it in industries and in other local value chains. And we are already going, Kuwait is already continuing in this direction. So we can go beyond just reducing pollutions. We can actually create a stronger industrial value. We can diversify raw materials. We can recover lost value. We can support local production more, and also build a self-sustained operating structure.
Yeah, and you know, speaking about building all this self-sustained structure, like, because we obviously can't ignore like the current, you know, infrastructure damage that we've had. So would you say a shift during these times is a little bit trickier, or is it now we've seen that no, we have to make this shift, so that in the future we're not in the same kind of position, right? So like we build from now, build upon it.
Well, if we want to talk about cost in this aspect, in my opinion, delaying any of these issues more, it will be more of a cost for us with the same problem, but with worse conditions. So definitely the bigger cost is just delaying it. If we look at energy transition, again, KPC is actually approaching it as a strategic investment. And here, in this case, we have something called EOCC, which is Energy Opportunity Cost Curve. In this, you can shift the question from how much the sustainability will cost to what opportunities are we actually losing by delaying every year, delaying recovery, delaying efficiency, delaying the using raw materials or sources in a better way.
It's like when people say about the climate, the best time to fix the climate was, it was 30 years ago, but the second best time is now. So
definitely.
It's now is the second best time to fix anything.
So in other words, we can say actually, how much will it will cost us to like act, or how much Kuwait is actually losing by waiting.
And because the food and the water stuff here in Kuwait are so, I wouldn't say self-sustained, but we have plans for those. So you might have people who are like, maybe we should focus on, sustainability infrastructure, like, chemicals, buildings or stuff other than food and drinks or water. But in your opinion, like when you approach them and you want to develop all of those, like what makes the focus on food and water to be self-sustainable can have more of a greater impact on the other ones, in terms of their sustainability? Or is that not an equation of some sorts?
No, they are all related. I actually wanted to relate it to nowadays because we're all in survival mode based on what's happening to the world. So maybe food and water are the main issues we're focusing on, but once you start using sustainability, or once you start projects in waste conversion and energy recovery, you will automatically start doing it in all the sectors, not just the food and water. It will be in all areas.
And because we're running a little bit out of time, so I do want to leave you with one last question, because we've been talking about sustainability in terms of what the corporations can do, right? What these large, buildings can do. But what about the regular people? Is there something like me and the other person can do in our daily lives to, help within these sustainability plans, projects, or is that something a little bit, out of the equation for it?
Of course, we can all participate in any way, form, or shape, even if it's 1%, less than 1%. Anything you're capable of doing that would be beneficial to society, to your country, to your religion, to the world itself. I myself, I'm not going to say I am the best in maintaining waste, but I try to minimize it as much as I can. I think of saving some of the resources in such as water, what we're suffering with currently, and how the world is...
because it adds up. So like one person may feel that they're not really doing anything, but dozens of people, that's going to be adding up. With that being said, I do want to thank you for being our guest today on Good Morning Kuwait.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And also, we want a special thank you for our guest today, Maisa Khaja, Sustainability Program Manager at Gulf Creo. With that being said, we are going to take a break, so stay tuned.